Well, it seems like a lot of you like me asking my brain dead anime questions.
Flappin' Flotsam, what's that?
Which I live and breathe to do because I do that in my own spare time whenever I want. So I got some more for you guys. This time I decided to talk about some My Hero this time since I'm a little bit more fresh in the series now. Also, please note, this is all speculation, make-believe, asking a bunch of theoretical questions. And all I'm doing is just bringing up a question about a series and speculating, having fun, having some theoretical conversations. No need for any negativity or overt seriousness. It's all fun in this game. All right, boys? All right, let's get into this.
Well, you see, my family owns a construction company, but we haven't gotten any work lately, so we're flat broke. Anyway, this isn't really something I usually tell other people. I'm gonna become a pro. I'll sign with a good agency and make plenty of money. Then I'll be able to let my parents have an easy life.
Now, like I said in my last video talking about the My Hero ending and how much I liked it, which you guys should check out by the way, I briefly talked about our boy Uraraka, and her original goal of becoming a hero was just for the bag, the moolah, the bread, the cash. And this briefly brought back some old questions I had about the My Hero universe from its economic standpoint, because to a degree it kinda is a little bit wonky, not necessarily makes the most sense. I should know since I have that shiny economics degree hanging upon my wall. That's completely useless since I am chronically unemployed, but let's not focus on that, shall we? Someone please hire me. So let's answer a very basic question. How do pro heroes get paid? Well, they definitely aren't like the police in this universe. If that were the case, we would assume they would be working off as a salary and they would have a boss, but they technically don't have any boss that they answer to on a regular basis. Unless it is the government of the My Hero universe, then they would be their boss. However, from my understanding, not all heroes are associated with the government, or at least I would assume that would be the case. The only hero that comes to mind that is directly associated with the government in the My Hero universe is Stars and Stripes, America's #1 hero. Rest in peace to one of the best quirks in the entire verse. Shame. Since she is associated with the platoon in the American US government, then she would be salaried by the US government. But would she be paid as a hero or would she be paid as a US soldier? That's a completely separate question. That's a curious one. Now, yes, sometimes heroes may work with the government, but I think the majority of the heroes in the series are heroes that work with the police, work under agencies, or are US students who have their provision licenses. Therefore, wouldn't the majority of heroes just be contractors, essentially heroes being hired by the police in order for them to help in their higher scale threats, which would mean that there would be heroes who are contracted under the police with a very select and constant pay rate, or heroes are freelancers and have their own rates. If that was factually true, then Jesus man, I don't want to even know how much would it cost to contract one of the top 5 heroes in the entirety of the verse. Hell, I don't even want to know if they were freelancers and how much they would be charging every single time that they come up to save people. And that would also explain why there's literally no police whenever there is a major threat. It's almost an anomaly. They just are nowhere to be found in the majority of the threats. Most of the time we see them either in the planning stages in the situation room, sitting down talking to Dick Wolf and All Might, trying to tell them the scoop and how to plan to defeat the next villain, or maybe they're most of the time on the streets helping people when there is a last great tragedy and helping people get to safety and shelters and so on. But in the grand scheme, the majority of police is nowhere to be seen. Not even police are doing patrols on their own show. I think the last time we truthfully saw the majority of police in the series was during the overhaul arc, where they were trying to save Eri and they were planning to how they're going to get into the facility, how they're going to stop overhaul, how many villains are in the facility, how they're going to catch Eri, who's going to be in the front lines, the back lines. And even then, I believe there was more heroes than police, but at least police were somewhat in the fray of that conversation. With all of that speculative information, therefore, I would be forced to assume two things. Either police precincts have a budget that's specifically used to contract heroes for certain missions, or heroes are automatically working with the government and some other heroes are freelance heroes or contracted heroes with an agency. For example, if we were to say if All Might was still active in the field of being a hero, I think All Might would be more likely to be a contracted hero or a freelance hero. He will be needed for villains that are close to All for One level, or if they're a group of powerful villains in an area like Stain or Spinner or anything like that, because of how strong he is. The issue would be dealt with easier if he was there. Otherwise, his strength isn't greatly needed for other street patrols or crimes that don't involve that amount of egregious strength. What the heck is he gonna do outside of that? Maybe he might help with construction workers and stuff like that, but there might be other people who have different quirks that are more viable for those types of tasks. If I had to guess, he probably started out as a government contracted hero and then transferred to being more of a freelance hero. I don't know for sure. This is all just speculation, like I said before. This is not factual. Also, if you have opinions or speculations or standpoints that you think that could actually add to this conversation, leave them in the comments. I'm down for that conversation. Anyways, if I had to guess, heroes that are more in the field are government heroes like Conway Woods, Mount Lady, Edgeshot, and other heroes that don't show up too often are contract heroes or freelance heroes like All Might, Miracle, or maybe even Endeavor. If I had to guess what the lowest to highest pay a hero could get if you were a contract hero doing some street level work, crimes, patrols, and your ranking was pretty low, then I think you would be contracted at least like $25 an hour, and you would probably be contracted for the year, and your contract will be renewed every year as it goes on, and maybe you may be possibly getting higher pay as your rankings increase, or maybe the more work you do outside of the rankings, maybe the ranking doesn't have to attach to the rank. I don't know, that's where it's a little bit weird, because since the rankings are involved, I don't know if the government will pay you more if you're in a higher ranking, and also you would also get paid more if you did more work in terms of the city, helping citizens. I'm not sure, it's a little bit weird. Also, I would think if you're a government hero, and off the top of my head, get based off of the averages of how some government jobs work, you would probably get maybe around $35 an hour, so you'd be probably getting about $85K a year, but you would also be incentivized to do more bonus level work, so that's where things like commission will come into play. But what exactly would be commissioned is where another question comes up. I think things that would be commissioned would probably be how many saves you do out through the year. So someone like Lemillion would probably have millions of dollars because his plan is to get 1 million saves. So maybe he might become someone who gets thousands or millions of dollars, even though he might be government paid based on how many saves he gets throughout his lifetime as a hero, which is nuts because you would think a hero would get paid significantly more if it was just the flat government pay rate. But I think heroes would probably be perceived similarly as police officers and firefighters, so they probably would get slightly higher pay than those who are first responder kind of jobs, given, you know, the possible threats. But who knows? This is just me, speculating, like I said before, because I just don't fully understand how Uraraka, a character whose original goal was to become a rich hero, how she would get to that goal. I think realistically she would probably become a contracted hero, or she would probably most likely become a governmental hero, get a set flat rate because that would probably be the highest amount of pay she's ever got in her life, and then also work around doing things within the community, given her quirk is very useful into helping people like in construction, helping people with lifting heavy things they're dealing with, like you have to lift a bunch of stuff like grocery shoppers and so on. She might be incentivized to get a lot more bonuses along that job. Or she could join up a lot of another agency and hopefully find a highest paying agency and get hired at that agency so that she can get the most money off of that. The other question is, how do the taxes for heroes work though? This is boring financial mumbo jumbo. This is just some stuff that I think would be interesting to cool. I think it'd be fun to actually explore this in a more detailed way, kind of like a game theory type of video, find the lore of these different things and put it together, but in more of a financial aspect. You know what, I might work on something like that. In fact, maybe not for this topic, maybe for something else that I think would be really interesting, and I think that'll probably be one of my next videos. I think I'll work on something like that. I'll probably call it fictional economics or something, but who knows. But yeah, that's it. It's your boy Kadukun. Shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for getting me really close to 1,000 subscribers. I was not expecting all of this attention really fast, and shout out to you guys for getting my Dragon Ball video to 100k views. That is an insane thing because I was never expecting to get anywhere close to the high end views so early. I'm still trying to figure out how to get this done. I'm still trying to figure out how often and what kind of content to put out there, but I'm glad you guys liked it. I know there's a lot of you guys who were kind of cooking me in the comments, but this is all just, you know, for fun. This is just a community kind of thing, so shout out to you guys. Oh, one more thing. I got a gaming channel now. I don't got many videos on it. I just dropped one video on it recently, and I just played my first episode of Black Myth Wukong, and I plan to drop another episode on that as well, so check out that as well. But yeah, it's been your boy Kadukun. It's been good, and peace.
FMA, handle business, don't play. On point when it comes to the anime. Jack and Daxter, ayy, let's go. The ultimate heroes, don't stop, we on the road. Kadukun. Yeah, welcome to the channel.